No problem. TY is in the house as well. You're welcome. TY, if you can hear me, give a shout out to the audience as well.
Hi, Doc. Good evening. Hi, Doc. Good evening.
Good
Glad to be
evening.
here again.
How are you doing?
I'm sorting out. I'm fine, thank you. I'm sorting out something at the back end. I'll join you in a minute.
No problem. That's fine. That's okay. We welcome Tommy, Mercy, Favor, Adetutu. You are all welcome, and those who are already tuning in on Apotero FM 83, you're most welcome. It's been like a roller coaster journey. It's been an interesting journey so far on this series. It's the longest series ever had. I'm quite happy that a lot of people have given very positive feedback as to how this has shaped their mindset now, has opened up their eyes to see things differently from previously. Um, I'm quite happy to announce to you also that we'll be having one of the surrogates in the house to share our experience. So that at least on this episode, I want people to know how to take the journey from the point A to point Z when it comes to fertility treatment and the options available to them. Um, I'm particularly quite happy because tonight is the last episode on this series, the series finale. I wish we could just continue to push and push and push and push, but I think people are sending messages to me that they want some other important topics to be dealt with as well, as it's affecting their health. And so we'll try as much as possible to accommodate everybody. So, TY, how far? How are you doing? Are you all ready to go? Or you're still sorting yourself out? So this journey started with Archdeacon. We started with God, that God is involved in this thing. We talked about science, the importance of science, that God has given us knowledge to be able to make some things happen. And we talked about the fact that He's giving us people around us in order for us to be able to get help when the need arises. And more so, we spoke about the fact that there are different types of helps available. And we've taken this journey every step of the way, looking at those 4 or 5 cardinal points that we laid down. So let me ask you about your own experience in this journey. Have you learned something new? Has your eyes been opened to things in different ways?
By the grace of God, a lot of things has been added to me in the course of this session. It's not something that I can conclude within these few minutes of talking. I'm happy, I'm privileged to be part of the sessions from the beginning. A lot of innovatives, a lot of new things, and it's going to help me in my ministry the more because, we are doing the same work, just that yours is, you are the science man and I am the church man. So, but it's of the same work, but just that the two must go together. There's a place of God, there is a place of science, and the two cannot be pushed aside. Without God, the science cannot have the headway, and once God is giving us the way, we should allow every other thing to take its place. So I've been privileged to learn a lot, and I'm appreciative for that.
Thank you very much for being honest and being sincere and open about it. I'm going to randomly call on some members of the audience, especially those that I can see right here, to just tell me what the journey has been for them, today being the last experience on this series. Tommy is there. I think that will be Deacon Tommy. Can you unmute yourself and tell us what your experience has been so far, what you've learned from it, and what you're taking away from here? I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself. So if you can just tell us what the experience has been. Maybe If you can hear me, you can unmute yourself. Okay.
Good evening. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you, my brother?
Good evening. I'm actually driving. I'm very well, thank you. So I'm actually driving, so my network might just go off at some point.
I guess that as well.
It's been quite. Yes, it's been very interesting. I've learned quite a lot from the panelists, and for me, I think I actually just joined because I wanted to learn. I like to listen to talks like this just to add to my knowledge. And I think one of the things I've picked from it, which I can also use to encourage other people, is even when you're trusting God for a child, sometimes I think it's common we focus more on the women, on the ladies. And that's one key thing I've taken out of these sessions for the past few weeks, that sometimes it's not actually the woman, and also the woman goes through so much with their tests, which can be more expensive, whereas there are just a couple of tests that the guy can also do just to rule out any obvious things that might be wrong with the man. So for me, overall, it's been very, very enlightening, I must confess. So I would just like to thank all the panelists and to thank you, sir, for also creating such a platform. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I called on you because I've observed your continuous dedication to tuning in to listening at all times. So I felt that you probably will be one of the people that will be benefiting from it. And I'm happy that you're actually indeed benefiting from it. So let's get cracking, if we may. Joey, how has it been with you?
It's been a busy day as usual, but thank God. I'm still trying to get a hold of Lola. She told me she was signing in, and I've not seen her yet, which is why I've been trying to reach her. But it's a pleasure being here again tonight. Dickin, nice to see you. I think we missed you in the past 2 episodes. Maybe
Thank you very much.
Missionary, maybe you were on a missionary journey to Australia.
You guess right. You guess right.
Well, it's nice seeing you again. I'm happy to be here. I'm glad to see people are benefiting, and what we're saying is making a whole world of difference. So I'm hoping that tonight will also be a good learning session.
Very good. Now I'm still going to ask you for your own personal experience as it relates to this program. I know you've shared your story. I know you've shared your stories on too many platforms in the past, but how do you feel sharing your story on this platform? How has that made you feel?
Okay, so sharing here has been a bit different from my usual because we've had a series, so it's like talking about different aspects and different areas, and not just focusing on me, but focusing on the different areas of infertility. So I've also learned, I've deepened my knowledge. I have heard from Pastor his own experiences managing the congregation, and I've also learned from Doctor that was with us before, and the other doctors that joined us along the way. So yeah, it's been good, and also the fact that people could wait out the series. It shows that people need a lot more education about things like this, and I'm glad that our Otioro is a medium for them to learn and get what they need free of charge, because if you have to come to my office to get advice and co, you will pay for it. But here it's a free platform for them to, get sound counsel. Okay, Lola is here.
Yeah, I can see her. She's just coming now. So yeah. I think I have to especially thank you and Dickin and my 2 colleagues who have been part of this program in the past. It's been sheer dedication, commitment, because nobody gets paid for this. You're using your time, you're using your data, you're using your subscription. So, and we're giving it to people on a platter of gold without any fees being charged. I know if you come to meet me for consultation, you know how much you're going to pay. But this is being dished to people free of charge. And the one thing that gladdens my heart is that I am getting positive feedback from people who are in their situation, that crossroads, and who are Christians. They didn't know what to do next. And your story, Tori, had been quite an eye-opener for them, and Deacon as well. Your disposition to the whole thing had made people to come to understand the different aspects of faith. So let me ask you, Pastor, you're going to say something, Deacon?
Well, I'm still in order, at least what I'm going to do next now, since you are far away from us, well, Sister Tony is in Lagos, I have to visit her in the office, but I'm not going to.
I won't charge you. Don't worry.
I'm not going to pay.
I won't charge
because
you.
I still have so many questions to ask her. I will just come and do the whole day with him. Maybe I will be the confidential secretary that day. So that it's been a lovely time.
That is well much welcome, and is allowed. So last episode, I said I had some things I want to push. When we start like this, you might not know which direction I'm going, and I'll just be dragging you one by one. so let me start with you, Tony. When it comes to IVF, when it comes to artificial conception, let me put it that way, there are people
I'm going to fight you for that one. Get ready. I'm listening.
There are people who, like, for aesthetic reasons, cosmetic reasons, don't want stretch marks, don't want to lose their shape, don't want to lose their figure, don't want to go through the stress of pregnancy. And I can see the world moving in that direction. Okay, I can see the world moving in that direction. Do you think science or the knowledge of science is being abused if they were granted access to such treatment?
Like surrogacy, you mean?
Yeah.
That's a very dicey question. And I've said it before that some people do surrogacy for vanity reasons. But really, before we start off with, at least for now, before we start off with individuals who request surrogacy, we put them through screening and try to establish why they are opting for surrogacy. And interestingly, some of the people I have spoken with think because they've not been able to achieve pregnancy on their own, the next thing is surrogacy. And I now educate them and say, no, because you're not able to achieve a pregnancy doesn't automatically mean surrogacy will work for you, because there's no advantage the surrogate mother has over you if you have what she has. Okay, so first people get confused as to when they require surrogacy, but some people are very clear and it's for vanity reasons. I hardly see them. I think I've only met one and I've only worked with one, and I understand the angle she's coming from as at that time, because she was a very busy person and she would require a lot of traveling and a lot of moving up and down, and because she's gone through a miscarriage before, she was scared of taking on that risk, so she wanted surrogacy, and we worked with her. But quite a number of the people we work with do it because they are not able to do so themselves. And even the contract they signed with us at the beginning of the plan, at the beginning of their treatment, says that they are unable to carry a pregnancy to term, or they have not been able to achieve a pregnancy themselves. So that operational clause is very clear. There must be a medically established reason why you are choosing surrogacy. That is how our practice has been set up for now. And I know that in most hospitals, you have to face an ethics committee, or you have to pass your reasons through an ethics committee, and they weigh it and say yes. So I can refuse someone surrogacy if I'm not persuaded that person is satisfying my conscience as regards surrogacy. But can we stop them from having treatment? No, we can't. Again, because the society we are right now encourages it, and whether we like it or not, in the years that are ahead, a lot of people will opt for it, not because they have a reason, but because they've chosen to go that way. So we will need to prepare ourselves for that time. And that time is around the corner, maybe in the next 2, 3, 4 years. We'll see a lot more of that. And what we have to do as a practice, the ARC practice, will have to accommodate these people and then craft their contracts in such a way as to allow that that desire of theirs to have children that way.
All right.
I hope that answers.
It answers the question. Even though you dodge it a little bit. We'll come back to that. As the king, now, seeing the trend, the way the world is going, if a member of your parishioner, maybe a couple, the husband approaches you and say, Pastor, my wife says she doesn't want to carry a pregnancy, that we should go and use surrogacy because she doesn't want to lose her shape or her figure. She doesn't want to have stretch marks. She doesn't want to have big tummy. What will you be saying to her, and how will you see her?
In all sincerity, I'm not going to support her to do that in the first instance, except there is a challenge for her not to conceive, just like Sister Tonya has just analyzed. But the truth of the matter is that I don't really have the 100% control over anybody's decision. I'm going to, by the grace of God, I'm a clergyman. In all sincerity, I'm going to tell the couple what we want to do is not ideal. If on the basis of the fact that you don't want to lose your figure, you want to remain your body structure, you want everything to be okay, you don't want stretch marks, all of that. If that is the main bone of the excuse, I'm not going to support that. But if they persist that is what they want to do, I don't have the 100% control over them. I'm just going to tell them the sincere truth. But if it is on the challenge of not being able to conceive, and I know that surrogacy is the next option that will make them to be happy in their marriage, why not? I'm going to give them my word, because the current state of the world deserves that we think beyond the way we have been thinking before. Yes, by the grace of God, I'm a clergyman. We do what is right. That's what the scripture asks us to do. But at the same time, what I feel that can make a home to increase in harmony, I'm going to support that. If it is based on just having their own way, well, I'm going to tell them the truth. If they want to do, there is nothing I can do, because you have just said it, sir. The path the world is shifting to now is becoming a challenge even to the church, because there's many things are happening that is going beyond us as pastors, and I don't have the liberty to control people's decision. We can only advise. Jesus Christ said, you have the right to choose the way. Here is the way that leads to the eternal life. The other way leads to the other world. The choice of a man is in his hand, and that is what we do in the church, and that is what we stand with. But the truth cannot be compromised. In my own part, I'm going to tell them, but I don't have the ability to change their mind.
I can tell you that this discussion that we're having now will be the hot topic in the next 5 to 7, 10 years.
Yes.
And this debate will be out there. So
yes.
I'm kind of preempting this. And I can tell you that a lot of women, even in the church, will be caught in that web. So I'm like a prophet seeing ahead and prophesying what is going to happen.
If I may cut in, it's not even for want of not desiring stretch marks or balding tummies and aesthetics, but even because of career, for work-related reasons. you find that the generation we have in the workforce now, because by background, I'm a HR person. I worked in HR management for 20 years before I started doing this full time. The type of people we have in the workforce now, the generation we have in the workforce now, they are very focused, very decisive, very deliberate about what they do, what they spend their time on, what they put their energy in. It is this generation that I have seen that will wake up in one morning and say, Mommy, I don't want to go to that office again because I don't like my boss, or because I just don't want to work. I don't like this job anymore. And I'd rather stay at home and find what I want to do, whatever, no matter how long it takes me. So the generation we have in the workforce now is the sort of generation that will put everything on hold to chase after a particular career. And yes, and they are very deliberate about what they want. And I like that about them. They are very deliberate. They know what they want and they will go after it with a passion. And so if childbearing is going to disturb their career growth, they will outsource it. Do you understand? And surrogacy gives them the opportunity to outsource. Egg freezing gives them the opportunity to delay conception because they want to be focused for the next 5-10 years on a particular issue. They are the generation that, you know, their parents can afford to send them to private universities, and they don't have to deal with ASU strike like we dealt with when we were in school. So you find that they are leaving school at age 19, age 20, age 21. And someone who leaves school at age 19, 20 can afford to take out 10 years of her life to run after her career and build a career 10, 15 years before she decides to have a child. So they are the generation that will freeze their eggs. They are the generation that will store their embryos. They will keep their embryos for as long as possible before deciding they want to take on the additional responsibility of parenting. So we are going to see a lot more of this, and not just for aesthetics and vanity case, but because you now have people who want to be focused in a particular area and they want to delay conception, but at the same time, they don't want to lose out completely. You understand me?
Yes, even let me just add a little word to that, sir. Am I permitted?
Yeah, go ahead.
You can even notice too that there are some organizations now, permit me, we are not going to mention names there. Once they employed you, like Sister Tony just said, they prefer to take people that are 19, 20, graduate that has already served, they take them. They don't want to hear you talking about marriage until 30. They want to use at least 10 years of that person's life to work for them. Once you are talking about marriage, the person will be fired because they know that once you get married, the next thing, the person is going to conceive, they are going to lose the person. So we have such an organization again. And even so, like Satoyi said, there are some of our people in the new generations we have now, they even prefer to work in such an organization. 10 years, no marriage, nothing like that, 19 plus 10, 29. So they know that until 29, I won't be talking about anything called marriage or family.
And the organization, they're okay with it. You pay them good money, they're okay with it, to be honest.
Exactly. Even eventually when they marry, they will be, before they marry, they will be telling you they only need a child, just one, just for them to change their status. Not that they are like the past parents, as in our parents that are 7, 9, you know, all of that. So I am aware, but you know, there's nothing we can do. The entire world is changing, and whatever it comes, all of us must prepare for it, so that at the end of the day, there won't be any embarrassing moment for anybody. It's a changing world already. It's not like, so I agree with her. She's my colleague now, you know.
So very good, very good. I think if people are wondering, what are we talking about? We're talking about the present and the future, because the future is going to become the present. And for as long as we are still alive, the future is, we're going to be back in the future. So it's an important thing, because when you have the knowledge to hand, it becomes quite easier for you to navigate the trouble. If you just find yourself stumbling into the trouble, then you get disorientated, everything becomes chaotic. And that's why people, you know, lose out, because they do not have the information they need to hand. Now we're still going to push that a bit further. will it be right, Arcticing, for somebody to say, okay, I want to freeze my egg until I'm 40, and then get somebody to carry the baby from me? Because why? I want to achieve everything I need to achieve first. And they say life begins at 40. So that's when I want to have my baby. Will it be right from Christian perspective now?
Sincerely, it's my own opinion, and that is not right, in my own opinion. But I will always talk this way. The thinking of everybody is different. Under God, you don't toil with your life. The reason of every man is beginning to be different. What seems to be right to me now, Sister Toyin may see it in a very different way. And he will have our reasons to justify the way he's seeing it. So if somebody decided to freeze our egg, thinking that at 40, I'm going to do that, well, it's an opinion, it's our life. There is nothing we can do. The only thing is that the rate at which the world is changing, my own prayer is that we should do what is right when it is right. This life, if one gets the understanding of life, then one will know that our life does not depend on the things a man has gotten. But if that is the decision of that person, there's nothing I can do. But the exact word I want to tell the person, I'm going to say as a pastor, I'm going to tell the person what you want to do is not really right. But if he or she tells me that, my brother, this is what I've chosen to do, there is little I can do to change such a mindset. But what is right, I'm going to tell him. I cannot compromise what is right. That is my own opinion. That he may not take it, he may take it, but I have to say it. That's my own opinion on that.
Okay. Tony, do you agree with him?
See, this is my attitude to life. It's your life. You are more than 18 years old. It's your life. Take your decision. You understand me? And yes, I will encourage people to freeze their eggs when they are young enough. Particularly people who have specific reasons, maybe people who have a family history of cancer, or people who have, some familial and some genetic related issues, and people who maybe by opportunity or so they've discovered that they have a low ovarian reserve. So I'll encourage those people to put their eggs in storage. The facility exists. And then, or people who are elderly women who are single for a while and have not been able to find suitable spouses, I will encourage them, freeze your eggs. But what I tell people, because I've seen quite a number of those that I have also given this advice, is store your eggs, yeah? And then when you meet that man and you come into marriage, try and conceive spontaneously. So your mind is not focused on, okay, I've stored my egg, we have to do IVF automatically. Just try and have it naturally first. And if you have an issue and you're not able to conceive in 6-12 months down the line, then you can fall on the egg bank that you have. But when you now have people who have medical issues or people with low ovarian reserve, what I tell them is, look, don't waste time, okay? You store whatever you have to store, and you get married, go through IVF straight, because you are endangered in that area. So it depends. It depends. It's their choice.
So it depends, is their choice, but then Arcticing feels that it's not right. So
yes,
if what would you say now to somebody who is 45 years old now and actually been married, but she's yet to conceive?
45. Okay.
And she's yet to conceive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And will you advise that person that, okay, while you keep trying, go store your egg, because the older you get, the poorer the quality of your eggs get.
She doesn't even have eggs to store anymore at that age. That's why I repeated that age, 45. At 45, her fertility has peaked and has declined. If she was like 35, it's a different case. But at 45, and she's still struggling to conceive, to be honest, I'll say go and try IVF and try donor egg IVF. Because if you've not been able to do that all this while that you've been married and you're at this age, it's going to be a bit more difficult. Scientifically, I'm speaking as a scientist now. But I always leave room for the miraculous to happen. God can interject at any time. He can step in at any time. That's the sovereignty, and I don't close that area. But for a 45-year-old who has been married for a while and has been trying and she's not getting pregnant, please go for IVF. And please, if you still want to use your eggs, go ahead and use your eggs, but ask for backup donor.
Okay. So Archdeacon, I'm going to come back to you, Tony. Archdeacon, if you have a parishioner who is 45 in your church, and they've been married, she's been married since she was 37, and they have not been able to achieve pregnancy, and she says to you that I want to go and freeze my egg, what will you say to her?
That is the beginning of another pain. Permit me to use that word. What egg is it going to freeze? I'm going to tell her the truth of the matter. To conceive is by the help of the Almighty God. And when God is giving us the direction, either through science or through his own might, just like Stazonia has just affirmed, through the miracle part, we give all the glory to God. Even if one does IVF and it worked, it is to the glory of God. And if it is by normal conception, to the glory of God. At 45, telling me she wants to go and freeze her egg, I'm going to tell her she's wasting her time. It's that age is already, in short, it's not something I support all the while, because I've been sincere about that. It's like trying to play God. Nobody's greater than God. Anything God asks you to, any grace God has released unto us, we must not abuse it. And if we are asking for it and we are not getting it, and suggestions are coming to put the way where we can have it, that's a different issue. And that's the issue of this surrogacy and every other thing. If God is opening our vision to IVF, to surrogacy and all of that, you are asking for it, you are not getting it, and those ones are coming, go ahead. But for you now to be at 45, and you're not telling me you want to freeze your egg, the truth of the matter, I'm going to tell the person, OCR6 is what I'm going to go for her. My doesn't have any knowledge. Ensuring baby at the end of the day, 37, 45, it's a waste of time. And it's like, she doesn't know what she's doing. That's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be sincere, because it's about life. It's about life. And one has to be sincere with our people. I'm not going to.
So will you advise her to trust in God, or will you advise her to go get donor eggs?
If donor egg, she keeps on trusting God, because in that situation now, I'm going to tell her the truth. If she wants to trust God, I'm not the one that is going to help her to build her faith. I'm only going to open her eyes to the word of God, but I cannot force her what she's going to practice at the end of the day. If she wants to keep on trusting God, I'm not going to change that, because there are miracles. And if she decided to go and do IVF, or if she wants to go on the part of IVF, all well and good. My own submission is that anything that is going to bring happiness to a home, as long as it does not take away the salvation of that family, I'm okay with it. If it's not going to make you to lose heaven, I'm in line with that. But anything that can make a man to lose heaven, I can never promote that, because it is a privilege for me to be a man of God. It's not a right. God has just only found me worthy to be an instrument. And if I'm abusing the calling, it doesn't take God a minute to take me out of the way. So I'm going to let him family know.
Okay, I'm going to come back to making heaven. We'll come back to that. Now I'm going to drag you in every direction. Okay. So I'm going to come back to making heaven. So Tony, when it comes to egg donation, egg donors, how would you advise somebody to go through that?
Okay, so egg donation, it's an amazing opportunity for people who require help in that area. And people require egg donors for particular reasons. It's either a woman has suffered premature ovarian failure, in that even though she's young, her ovaries are not responding nicely and she's not producing eggs, or she has a congenital issue, she was born with immature ovaries, or some I've seen people who do not have ovaries. I have seen some have ovaries like that of a child. Some have medical issues, medical conditions, and they have been advised not to have children. They can't carry on that gene because it's harmful to a next generation. Some have cancer, serious cancer, and they can transfer. Some have the sickle cell disorder, and they are married to someone with the AS or the sickle cell trait, or they're also carriers, and they do not wish to gift or to bequeath this genotype on the next generation. So there are several reasons why people need egg donation. For some, it's because they have tried with their own eggs repeatedly and they've not been able to get pregnant. And some of these people do not have the means, to go further and do some pre-implantation genetic screening and find out what is wrong with this egg chromosomally and things like that. So the advice from the doctor will be go and get a donor. Now, these donors are usually young because, like I said, your ovarian response is largely tied to your age. And a woman's eggs they are older than her. So we'll typically look for a girl that is of legal age, which is 21. So a girl between age 21 and age 28 most of the time. Preferably someone who has had a pregnancy or who has had a child. Sometimes they've not, but because they are young, their ovarian response is still high. And then we put such a girl through IVF, and she's donating anonymously for this other person who is unable to do so herself. So that's basically what egg donation is about and why people would require egg donor. The process is through IVF. This donor is stimulated, she's super ovulated. In a normal cycle, a woman releases one egg, worst case 2 eggs from both ovaries sometimes, but most of the time only one ovary would release an egg in ovulation. But when it comes to IVF super ovulates that woman, so she gets a lot more follicles growing, and chances of her getting more eggs increase. And we sort and grade for the very good ones, and we inseminate with the man's sperm and fertilize and see how many will grow into embryos before transferring into a recipient. In this case, a recipient can be the woman who has commissioned the donor, or a womb or a commissioned surrogate. So it depends on what type of cycle we are running here. But that's basically why people will need egg donation and the sort of women that we use as donors.
All right, thank you. We'll come back to, I'm asking all these questions because these are the things that are kind of bugging the minds of people out there, the areas of confusion. Now, Archdeacon, you said that what is important is sometimes that it brings joy or happiness to the home, but it's not going to affect the salvation or the person making it. Will you say, egg donation or freezing the egg or surrogacy will affect somebody making it to heaven?
Well, when we read Bible wide, because that is the constitution that has been given to Christians. If you want to know God, you read your Bible. When one reads Bible wide, then one begins to wonder this, how big God is. He does his things the way he likes. One, as a man, a mere mortal, I am not in any position to judge. What works for me may not work for Sister Toyin. The grace Sister Toyin enjoys, I may not have the opportunity to enjoy. And there are a series of examples in the scripture. I'm not going to be a party to say that somebody that is going to do surrogacy or egg donation, IVF, that will affect the salvation. No, I'm not going to be a part to that. One point I remain on is that as we journey in life, a time we are born, we get to a level, we get married, that we have children or not is not a ticket to make heaven. That we don't have is still not a ticket to make heaven. According to the book of Revelation chapter 22, once the book of life is opened and our names are not there, it's not has to do with the success we made on that. I will continue to say to any family, anything that will make a home to be happy, I'm a party to that. God has said that the marriage, God does not appreciate divorce. He doesn't even want to hear about that. And that is why we always encourage people that want to marry. You have to think it. You have to be ready for it, because marriage is not for boys and girls. Like Sister Toyin now, our story is better told than experienced. But here she is today now. Anytime she's talking now, for me, hearing maybe for the first time, I may not know the pain, but she's the one that can tell us those years. So I'm not going to be a party to homes that the homes are not going to be happy. No, mine is that home should be happy. Any method they want to do to make their home to be happy, I'm going to be a party to that. But anything that will affect the salvation of any man to make heaven, my brother, that's one of the reasons why I'm a pastor. I have to let them know. You doctors, you do one thing for us. Anytime pastors are admitted into the hospital, I've been opportune to be going to hospitals to pray for people that are on sick bed. And I've been opportune to have doctors as friends. The doctors will be sincere enough to tell you the truth of the things you need to do to make you fine. But the choice to go with that is in your hand, especially we pastors. When I'm sick now and I'm admitted in your hospital, you will tell me the drugs I'm supposed to take. If I like, let me come and reply you that in my church, we don't take drugs. But you have said yours. If I need good health, is either I follow what you said, or I stay there and I continue to, maybe Jesus is going to heal me. I'm not saying Jesus cannot heal. I think you are getting me, sir. But
I think
the truth must be told. Anything that is going to make anybody to lose heaven, I'm going to be sincere to tell that person. But anything that is going to give peace and joy to that, look at the explanation Sister Toyin gave now. So beautiful, so lovely. Follow that. Your home is happy. The husband is happy. The wife is happy. It cannot happen except by the agreement of the two. And once they agree to do that, what is me? I'm a third party in that issue. But anything that will make them to lose heaven, I'm going to tell them that. Because, sorry, sir, let me say this. Sorry. Because it is in African side. Permit me to use that. You are my doctor and you know more than us in the issue of conception and all of that. It is in the African setting that we see raising of kids as the success of marriage. It teaches very well in Genesis chapter 1. It is not about raising kids. It's about companionship. But when talking about in Africa now, when you marry 9 months after, the babies are not coming early, the noise is everywhere. But that's not the major reason for marriage. It's for companionship, husband and wife, happy living, joyful life. Because a time is coming, the marriage will come to an end. Is it that the husband goes first or the wife goes first? And once they go, the contract of that marriage ends. But our people are not going towards that side. Once you marry, 9 months after, the babies are not coming, there is noise everywhere. And everybody wants to go to any level to make sure that there are babies in the house. And God will do that.
All right. I'm not done with you yet.
Okay, sir.
Just want to let people know that we have one of the surrogate mothers in the house. Her name is Lola. She'll be sharing her experience, what's the way it felt, being a surrogate mother with us shortly. I'll work my way towards her and just giving her a heads up. So now, when we were a bit younger, when we were in the university, we had few, at least I know of 2 people who were carriers of the sickle cell trait. The brother was AS and the sister was AS. And the advice will have been, don't even go there, because you have the risk of bringing a sickle cell baby, to the world. That your chances of having that is quite high. Don't go there. But being all the youthful exuberance, who say, oh no, with God everything will be fine and stuff like that. What will you say now if they say, well, we can get married and we can get a donor egg, like Tony suggested? What will you say to them?
If they insist they want to marry, right?
Yeah.
And that they are going to go for surrogacy, right?
Yeah, donor eggs.
Okay, donor eggs.
Yeah.
My brother. That is what we do now in the church. When anybody wants to marry, we will ask the person to bring the test to be sure they are virgins, that they are not, the woman is not carrying pregnancy already, because if she's already pregnant, there is a kind of the wedding we do, not the one we want to do, you get.
Mm-hmm.
But if they are both AS and the genotype gives us that result, and they insist that they want to marry, well, we cannot separate them. If they are also talking further that it is the donor issue they want to do because they know that they are at the risk of having SS, well, it is their life. That's me, my own personal opinion, because I'm always being sincere. It is their life, but it will be recorded that we told them the path to tread. But if they insist that the path we are asking them to tread is not what they want to really go for, we cannot change them. They have their right to their life. Because at the end of the day, what if the path we suggested for them to tread, they followed, and they find pressures in that path? They keep on mentioning my name, and it's our pastor that separated us, that caused wahala for us. I am not God. I am just a mere mortal, privileged to be called a pastor. But the truth cannot be negotiated. I'm going to tell them that. You cannot marry because possibility of having SS is there. And we are going to do egg donation. Okay, it's your life. God will keep us together. We'll be here. And we are going to see it. Because that sincerity must be told. That does not mean that I'm not doing my work. Because, it's not that I'm trying to be at the mercy, or I want them to love me, or I want not to speak the truth. No. The way the word is, the sincere truth must be told. I'm not going to be a party to AS people that I'm going to join them. No, I won't do that. I will tell them, please, what you want to do is not right. If you want to go into the normal way of conceiving, possibilities are there that SS might come. And that may be a pain in the family. But if they are telling us that, my brother pastor, this is what we want to do. Jesus is alive. We are also Christians. God is going to do it. Egg donation is what we are going for. There is nothing I can do. We are going to allow them.
All right.
That's personal opinion.
All right. Tony,
yes, sir.
You are a Christian and you are into this business. What would be your own opinion about that?
She's already.
You see me laughing since, because the truth of the matter is this thing called love. See, this thing called love, sometimes it is blind, sometimes it is not blind. You open your eye, kuru kuru. So the thing is, what your faith is your responsibility. Faith comes with responsibility. If you can wait it out, I see 3 or 4 options here. If you can hold on to God and wait it out and say, God, yes, we are both AS, but I am persuaded I have to marry this man. and I am persuaded you can jump the odds, you know, to favor, because the thing is this: if they are both AS, chances are they will have an AA. So it's just a 25% probability. And I've seen people who are AS, 3 out of the 4 children were SS, 3 out of 4 were SS. And they are all still alive today and well, and nothing is wrong with them. You understand? And I have seen AS and AS that got married, and none of the children is SS. None. They have AA, they have AS and AS. So if the first one is, if they can hold on to the Lord in faith and say, look, we are going to trust you that you will give us children of this particular genotype, and they are persuaded and they can hold on the faith, that is fine. I won't stop them from getting married, but I will let them know your faith is your responsibility. You can't go and tell the Lord, I want a child with AA, and then go and tell him tomorrow, hey, I don't think I can. A double-minded man is unstable. That's what the Bible says. You won't receive anything from the Lord. The second option here is, yes, if you decide to get married and to face it, how ready are you to spend money? How prepared? Because the truth of the matter is, if you want to avoid the SS genotype, you can, when you select the embryos to transfer. So you will go through IVF and do pre-implantation genetic screening and check for the genotype of that embryo before you transfer it and then attempt a pregnancy. It's possible and it's available in Nigeria. But you must be able to, you must have that money, because aside the cost of IVF, you will now pay for that pre-implantation genetic screening. In some hospitals, they charge up to $8,500 for you to do this. So you have that money ready, aside cost of IVF, have that money ready and spend it. And go through IVF and select the embryos that are of an AA genotype and transfer and trust for a pregnancy. That's the second option. The third option will be you looking for donor eggs and then going through a donor IVF cycle. So I think
Okay, I think we lost Tony's network there.
To spend a lot of money on this child, you know, and that's fine with me.
All right. So there's still a lot of dragging that I need to do, but we'll come to that later on. We have Lola Lola here. If she's still here.
Yes, Lola.
Yeah, she's still here. Lola, how are you? Let me ask you to unmute yourself so that we can hear from you. Hi, how are you? Good evening. I think your network is
Lola,
a bit.
what is wrong with your network?
I think your network is a bit poor there tonight. I hope you're not driving.
Lola, can you hear me? Oh dear. Lola, can you hear me? Maybe I'll have to put her on speakerphone.
She will come back.
I'm glad to be here.
She will come back.
The network is
it's fluctuating now. Okay,
can you log out and come in again?
Yeah, just go and come back in.
Okay.
She's done. Okay, so Tony, let's take it stepwise now. If a couple have been married for whatever length of time, and they now felt that, okay, the way forward for them is going the way of surrogacy. Stepwise, step by step. Okay, how do they go about it? I've had people who asked me that, is it even available in Nigeria? Where in Nigeria is it available? How would they access, or how can they access?
Okay, surrogacy is available in Nigeria, and as you can see, Lola is joining us tonight. Lola was the surrogate mother for one of our clients, and she had twins in August August last year. 2 girls.
That's fantastic.
Surrogacy is available in Nigeria, and we've had surrogacy for at least 15 years. So I tell people surrogacy is not something we just started doing in Nigeria. It's just that a lot of people don't talk about it. And before I shared my story, it was only one person that spoke about her surrogacy experience, and that was one Nickel Shinawa, and she didn't have it in Nigeria. So I decided I was going to talk about my experience so people can have that confidence and say, okay, this is done in Nigeria and it's not under the carpet. A lot of IVF.
So let me just hold you there. So it's done in Nigeria, which is fantastic. So we confirm that. I think Lola is back. Let's just hear from her. Lola, you can unmute yourself now. Can you unmute yourself? Okay, I think.
Yeah, she has.
Okay, cool. So I'm not sure what is wrong with your network, but we should get there at some stage.
Can you say something, Lola? Let's know if your network is okay now.
Good evening.
Oh, at least we can hear the good evening now. Even though it's still a bit haywire, but we can hear the good evening. Maybe your area they need to erect a mast.
I'm here.
All right, we are listening to you.
Oh, she's gone.
She's gone again. I think
maybe I should I try to reach her on the phone, whether that will be better. I'll put her on speakerphone.
Yeah,
let's see if that will work. She's back.
I think it's a network just flipping in and out.
Maybe it's where she is. Lola.
So wait,
yes,
I think
ma.
Okay, that's Jesma is better.
This is better.
All right. Can you still?
Okay, the network is messy.
Your network is back. All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself, if you can. So yeah, say get her on the phone and let
me try and get down.
Get her on the phone.
Are you on WhatsApp at the moment, Lola? Are you on WhatsApp at the moment? Let me call you on WhatsApp. Lola?
I think she's okay. Try and get on the phone and see if you can reach her. So to all our listeners out there, those who are listening on Apotera FM,
she's so looking forward to this,
and those who are on this Zoom platform as well, we are free to ask questions at any time. We are free to ask questions or ask for clarification at any time. It's an interactive program. You're free to ask any questions whatsoever that you need clarification on. And being the last episode, we're gonna give out some of the books of Toyin, Mom at Last. So I'm going to ask if one or two questions, and the first responder, you've got the chat box available on both platforms. The first responder to give the right answer will win a copy of Toyin's Mom at Last book, which Apotera Communication will be paying for. So the question number one is this: when was the first episode of this infertility series? When did it start? The first answer will win the book. The first episode of this infertility series, where do babies come from? When was that held? Give us the date. And that book is yours. It's worth 5,000 naira. So, the very first responder to get the right For those who are listening on Apotia or FM, the chat box is there for you.
Okay, hold on whilst I see.
Okay. Put in there as well.
Okay, I have Lola here. Can you hear her? Lola, say hello.
Hello, good evening.
Oh, fantastic. That is very, way
her?
better. We can hear you. At least I can hear you. And I want to believe other people will be able to hear as well.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. How are you doing?
Okay, he's saying, how are you doing? Sorry, I had my earpiece. You didn't hear his response. Okay, Doc, say something now. Maybe she'll hear you.
Hello,
Okay.
good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, that's fine.
Very good. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. My name is Lola. I'm from Ogun State, married with 2 children. What else? I live somewhere in the southwest part of Nigeria. I'm into business. I'm a businesswoman, buying and selling food stuffs and all that stuff. That's what I do.
All right. So I'm going to get a little bit personal with you in terms of how old are you?
I didn't get that.
How old are you?
31 to 32 in a few days.
Okay, so you are still quite very young. All right. So why did you decide, and when did you decide to start going to being a surrogate mom?
Okay. Well, after I had my second child, I think about a month after I had her, I got pregnant again. And as bad as it sounds, I had to get rid of the pregnancy.
So that would have been your third baby, right?
No, second.
Second, okay.
I have 2 of them, yeah. Okay, that would have been the third, yeah.
That would have been third, okay.
Yeah, would have been the third, yeah. So it was a bad experience. I would sleep and I would have, more like panic attacks, like something was haunting me and I would just start crying. It was a really bad experience. So I think it was, okay, I prayed and I told God any way for me to just restitute for these bad nightmares and thoughts to just go away. It was that very week I saw Mrs. Stoy. I think she's a friend with someone on Facebook. I just saw a comment and it was just somehow. So I reached out to her. Before then, I didn't even know surrogacy existed in Nigeria. So I reached out to her and told her I was interested. So we agreed to meet, and then that was it. It was such a strong decision. I knew this was what I wanted to do, even though I had no idea what it entailed. And I'm glad I did it.
All right, you're glad you did it. Tell me exactly why you're glad that you did it.
I didn't get that.
You say you were glad that you did it. Can you tell us why exactly you are glad that you did it?
Okay. Top on the list is that God used me to put a smile on a family's face. Not just 1 child, 2 for that matter. It's a privilege. It's a big privilege. It was tough. It was really tough, but it was tough. She knows what I'm talking about. It was really tough, but that strong decision was what helped me through. My husband, my mom, those were the 2 closest people that I tell things. My mom was crying. She was like, "Makami, I can be on Monday, Joe." I now took time to explain to her and all that. So thinking about it now, I can laugh now, but then it wasn't funny.
Now, why was your mom? Why was she troubled? Why was she worried? It was you just being pregnant. Why was she worried?
I said earlier that I didn't even know it existed in Nigeria. So she did not know anything about it. She did not know what it entails. That little understanding she has of carrying somebody's child, and then different thoughts as a mother, like what if you don't survive it, so you now die carrying somebody else's child. She had a lot of fears, which were quite understandable. But as I was getting enlightened by Mrs. Stoy, I was transferring to her, and then she saw how she knows I'm a stubborn person. I go for what I want. Once I'm certain of this is what I want, I go for it. So at the time, she just had to let go and started supporting with prayers.
Okay, and what was the experience like for you being pregnant with somebody else's baby? How did that make you feel? I mean, what emotions did you go through?
I don't even know how to explain it. It was surreal, really. The surreal feeling. It was strange. And then, but Miss Story made it quite. She made the journey quite. She and her sister, Mrs. Moji, they made the journey quite easy or easier on me. They were with me every step, but I was never alone. We were together every step, everywhere I was feeling. We were in it together. So it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad apart from the fact that type would get really sick when pregnant. It was part of the things my husband did. Things like, you want to go to follow your machine, and then you want to go through this for people you don't even know. So it was just good.
And did you have to take medications? Did you have to take any drugs to help support this process?
Yes, there was a particular one that needed to be I think it was estrogen. I can't remember. Just to support the eggs. Yeah, that was it. Apart from that, just normal what's it called? This supplements. Yeah.
Okay. Can you explain what the IVF process was like for you? I think that's the indirect question. So people know what people can relate with what you went through in terms of preparation.
Okay. Well, there was a particular drug I was given. I think I took it for about 2 weeks. I took it every day, and then up until the IVF process, it was with the IVF. It was really quick. I was expecting something really serious. It was really quick, and then the person who handled it was a pro. God rest his soul. So it was quite easy. It was fast, and they just numb from from the waist below, and then they hang the legs. It was quite easy. It's not very serious.
Are you talking about delivery now or the IVF?
No, the IVF.
Okay.
So that was it. It wasn't something serious, But before then, I thought it was a big deal. It was less than 15 minutes. I was surprised when they said they were done. So it wasn't something serious, yeah.
All right. So you were implanted with this embryo, as it were.
Yes.
And the baby began to grow inside of you.
Yes. After then, I had to go for tests to be sure of the number of eggs that actually fertilized. Then we discovered I was carrying a twins, and then that was when the proper process began. Yeah.
Okay. Tell us a bit more about that.
Okay. The early stage of the pregnancy, I was going to the hospital, I think like every week, yeah, just to monitor, the progress, and then to know how they were growing, how my body was responding and all that. And then like I said earlier, my pregnancy is a tough one on me. The first 3 months I go to hell and back. So through the process of going to the hospital to monitor progress and all that, I used to carry plastic inside the cab that takes me. I would throw up like 1,000 times before we get there. Coming back, I would throw up again, It wasn't even funny. It wasn't funny then at all, but here I am.
And how did your husband feel carrying somebody else's baby in his house?
It was tough. It was war convincing him in the first place. After the first meeting with Mrs. Stoin, and then she did the breakdown of how it's the process and how much I'll get paid and all that. When we go outside, he looked at me and said, "I'm not sure you're okay. Like, this is the amount you want to put your life on, I'm like, this is not about the money. Like, 100 million cannot even do it. Do you know what it entails carrying a baby? And then the way I get sick all through that process, I know what I go through when I'm pregnant. So I was like, this is not even about the money. You know that yourself. Like, it is really not about the money. There's no amount of money in this world that can even pay for that process. It was tough, but eventually they just knew this was what I wanted, and they supported me. It was tough. Sometimes they would not even stay with me on the bed. It was strange for him.
Yeah.
That was it.
I expected that. That was why I asked that it would be strange for him. But was it strange for you? Was it strange for you?
Yeah, it was strange for me, you know, especially when it got to the stage where they were kicking. You know, it was like, one will kick this, I don't kick this one. I've never carried a twin pregnancy, you know, and then one will kick this, I don't kick this side. My tummy was like volcano, and you know, and then I'll just start them. And you know, it was more like I was carrying my own children, but in my mind I knew they were not mine. You understand? It was beautiful, that experience of baby kicking, and it's just a beautiful experience, whether they belong to you or not. So at that period when they were in me, they were mine. Like, no, you people are mine until at least you come out and go and meet your people. So that was the mentality that kept me going.
And that brings me to the next question: that did you in any way feel emotionally attached to those babies?
Yes, even I think if I'm wrong, Miss Lynn should correct me. I think they are one already. There should be one.
Yes.
One, can be two.
One.
The last month or so. Okay, so even when they are not with me, the connection is there. I know I have the scar. That was my first surgery ever, you know. So the sky is there with me. I see the sky every day when I bathe. The sky is there with me. We're attached, whether we're together or not. I am attached to those children for life. So even when they were in me, so that emotional attachment was there, you know. It's just, there's nothing can take that away. It was there. But of course, I knew they were not mine, but the attachment was there, and I loved the feeling. Knowing that I was carrying them for some people, you know, I would imagine that joy would enter into a particular home when they come out, and you know, that feeling just kept me going.
And with the emotional attachment, how did you feel when eventually they were taken out of you and given to somebody else?
Yeah. Even I think Mrs. Tony already knows that it was going to happen. So she was already preparing my mind ahead. Even after, there were days, like a week or even like a month after, I would just sit and start crying. After they were, you know, they were already with their people, I would just sit and start crying. But she already prepared my mind that something like that might happen. And so it wasn't so bad. She was with me. She walked that journey with me. But I was, you know, like, so I'm waiting about no more kicking and all that. But
and
they just have to. I already knew they were not mine, so I knew I would get over it. I would cry. I would just want to be alone. But with time, the feeling left.
And did your husband feel in any way bad about that?
What did you say?
Did your husband feel in any way bad about it?
Well, yeah, he did. At least he would see me, I'll just be moody. And then he'll come and sometimes he sees me and say, "You're missing your twins, Abby." I'll just say, "Leave me alone, Gary. Leave me alone, Joe," you know. So we'll just laugh over it, and he'll probably just hug me and say they are fine where they are. They are happy where they are, you know. Their parents are sending prayers to you, you know. Stuff like that.
And going through that experience, did that make you to want more children of your own or not?
It's a tough question. Considering that pregnancy deals with me a lot, so you can relate. Pregnancy deals with me a lot. So for my husband and I, for now, we're not looking to give birth anymore. But you see this experience that I just experienced, this experience, despite the fact that, see, I suffered, it wasn't small. My husband would say, the other man of Hawaii, you know. It's something I look forward to again. It's strange. I'm telling you.
That's why I'm laughing, because this girl, she's been hounding me that she wants to be a surrogate again.
I was going to ask you that question. That is it an experience? Is there an experience you want to go through again?
I see my children run around, and I know that there are some homes it's up until my eggs are not useful anymore. Like, God can use me to put smile on these people's faces. Like, okay, Chili used to suffer, I will suffer again, and people will have children, you know. That's just it.
Now you said something about your egg being used. Was your egg used in that process? No.
Did you hear the question?
No, I didn't.
He said, was your egg used in that process? Because you mentioned eggs.
Oh, well, I meant age. No,
Okay.
egg. No. It's my egg. No. It was the parent. I was not the carrier.
Okay. Now,
you know, the body, as a woman ages, the body weakens, even pregnancy gets tougher, you know. So before we get to that stage, like, let God use us for some families.
and if you have the opportunity, will you be canvassing for other women of your age? Will you be canvassing for women of your age to get involved in things like that?
Yes, that's the opportunity I have to. I will. It's something I derive joy in. It was a beautiful experience for me, you know. But a lot of people don't even know this thing exists in Nigeria. So it's going to take a lot, even when they finally know, it's going to take a lot of convincing. There are lots of misconceptions out there, you know. So it's going to take a lot of convincing. But if I'm in the position to, with all joy, I will.
All right. So there you have it. That is Lola giving us her own experience of being a surrogate mother. It was a surreal experience for her. It was a mixture of pepper and salt and honey and lemon, sweet bitter experience. But overall, for her to be thinking of doing that again, she probably enjoyed more of it than detested more of it. Now, let me ask you a question that will break your back. How much were you paid for that?
He's asked to confirm from Mrs. Stone if I'm allowed to say that. She has to give the go ahead for that.
I don't know if your husband discussed this with you, and he says yes. So it's your choice. You can choose to answer.
Okay. The thing is, they were broken down in bits. So the after delivery, I think 2 or 3 days after, I got 1.2 million. But there were monthly allowances, feeding allowance, somewhere in between. There was cerclage allowance, somewhere in between. There was clothing allowance. So I would probably have to get a pen to put all that together, but in bulk, in cash, after the was 1.2.
So if we were to add everything together, will you be saying it's up to 3 million, 3.5, 5 million?
I don't think it's up to 3, 2 point something, yeah? But not up to 3.
Okay. So will you say the money was an incentive to doing it?
Well, of course, money is not something you just push aside. Of course, money is it was an added, money was just an added thing, because even before then I had my business, but during that period, business had to be put on hold. Then of course, when I got back, the money enabled me, what's the word now? I was able to add the money to my business to, expand a bit. So the money was just an added thing. I wasn't even when I was strong-headed that I was going to do this, I had not even heard the breakdown of the money. The point was, if they had told me it was 200,000, 500,000, as when we went there, I would have gone ahead with it.
Okay, you mentioned something about sacrilege. Did you have threatening abortion that made you to require sacrilege because it was a multiple gestation?
According to what was explained to me, I think it's just a precautionary method. They were twins, and then you wait on the cervix, anything could happen. They were not just willing to take any chance, so that was it. It was taken out after as the people were being brought out, it was taken out too. And it wasn't a painful procedure.
All right. You've been quite amazing. I want to really salute you for the courage, not only to go through that process, bringing joy and happiness into a family by carrying twins for them, but also for you to come and share your experience on your health and you on Apotero. It's quite a thing of courage, and I need to salute you for doing that. More grace to your elbow. I hope that as you desire, Tony will work with you and give you one more family.
You don't need big
well, at the same time, you need to look after your health as well to make sure that you're not overusing your body. So it's been nice hearing from you, and I'm sure you'll still stay tuned because the program continues. Thanks for coming to share your experience.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Lola.
Welcome. You're most welcome.
Let me disconnect now so I can continue with the program.
Okay.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dan. You can see we have a rapport. We have a rapport. I have a rapport with all my surrogates. They become like my babies, like my younger sisters. My family knows them. Because we're always praying for them. I'm always in their faces. We know them to their houses, to their parents, so it's not just business. It's a bonding. It's a relationship thing. We have a surrogate who is still with us, even though the children she gave birth to will be going on to 5 years. And she still comes to us, and we are still family. And she was the one that mentored Lola when Lola got on the program, because our surrogates are paired with mentors, so that the new surrogates are handheld by the ones who have gone through successfully, and they are not alone, So it's always amazing to see these fantastic women. You can hear from her. She's educated. She's a graduate. She has a first degree in computer science, I believe. She's a graduate. So a lot of them like that are graduates, and they work streamlined, and they still offer to do this.
So it's nice having them on the show. It's nice hearing their voices. It's nice, listening to their experiences. Now, the question I asked you before I brought her on was that a step-by-step guide as to how people can access this facility. So could you go through that?
Okay. Okay. So again, surrogacy is in Nigeria. You can have the service done in Nigeria. And then a lot of the IVF centers offer surrogacy as part of what they do. So you can walk into a standard IVF center and request for treatment, a recipient cycle, and they would answer you. Or you can choose to come to agencies like us and Precious Conceptions. I'll put you through. So if you come to me typically and say you need to go through surrogacy, first I have an exploratory session with you, trying to understand your need, why you need a surrogate, and if you actually need a surrogate, you have to justify that. And when we are clear on what you want and what you need and your timelines and what sort of service you need from me. Now I'm saying what sort of service because we work in 3 ways. We either get the hospital for you. So we have what I call a done for you service. We are getting the hospital for you. We are getting the surrogate and the legal team. And if there's a pregnancy, we are managing that pregnancy to delivery. Or you come to me and you say, no, you have your particular hospital. I only need you to do surrogate service for me. Or you come to me and say, I have the hospital, I have the surrogates. I don't know how to manage the surrogates. Can you put me through the process? So those are the 3 ways I can work with you. So I sit you down on that first session, and I understand what you want, and we're clear about it. And I discuss our process with you, how we source our surrogates and what we put them through, the background checks, the verifications they go through, their guarantors, their next of kin, and the sort of counseling they get. If you're okay with that, then we go into the contracting phase. So you register as our client, you fill our form, and then we send your details to our legal partners. We don't have lawyers working with us. but we have a chamber, a legal chamber that supports what we do. We send your details to them, they draft your contracts, and they send your contracts to you directly. So you look at your contract and see that it captures everything we've spoken about that we'll do for you, and mentioning the fees and charges. And once you're okay with that, we go into the invoicing stage. So we give you an invoice, this is what it will cost you. And then during the invoicing, you are not paying up all at once, you are paying up according to milestones and per need. We'll break down your milestones for you in the invoice. And once you're okay with that, we set. So from the moment you commission us to work for you in getting you a surrogate, so when we match you with a surrogate, there is a 4-week gap when we are screening and matching, and we are saying, okay, this is the family we are working with. And it's an anonymous thing, totally anonymous. You don't get to know the surrogate, she doesn't get to know you, but we will share a profile with the family and say, this is your surrogate candidate, this is who she is, this is where she stays, this is how old she is, this is the sort of family, she's married, she's single, she's divorced, or any, things, all the details that you need, her personality and education and all that. And then we present your surrogate in the hospital, and the hospital says yes, she can go on with the treatment. So if the woman is the one who is donating her eggs, yes, the woman presents in the hospital for her own side of the treatment. If it's a donor we are presenting the donor as well in the hospital. And then there's a synchronization. What I mean by synchronization is, now instead of IVF treating just one woman, IVF is treating 2 women, and their cycles must synchronize. So their menstrual cycles must synchronize, because that is what we are trying to balance. So the hospital takes over from us, and they achieve synchronization, put them on medicines, and the IVF process starts. Immediately there's a transfer, our own side of the matter becomes more serious, because once there's a pregnancy, then we are monitoring and all, just to make sure they take their medicines, they go for their appointments, and we're giving you reports on a monthly basis up until when there will be a delivery. And you'll be expected to be in the hospital for the delivery, because the hospital will hand over the babies to you directly at birth and not to us. At that point, I think that is clear. So we have the exploratory session where we understand your needs, and then we have the registration as the client, and then the legal contracting phase, and then the invoicing stage, and then the treatment phase up until delivery.
Okay. Thanks for explaining that to our listeners. I hope people are listening, and they can make up their mind whenever they're ready, if they find themselves in that situation, to access these facilities. One big question to you, Tony: has there been a time when you failed?
How do you mean by I failed?
That there may be, the pregnancy got aborted, or you never really succeeded in getting the babies to the commissioning parents.
Okay, so by the grace of God, all our surrogates that have become pregnant have carried to term. All of them, they've carried to term, and we successfully handed over. The handover is immediately at birth. You don't get to see the babies. The surrogates don't get to see the babies at all, because it's always a CS delivery, it's not vaginal, yeah? So, but all the surrogates that have been pregnant with us have carried to term fully. Lola had a early delivery. She gave birth at 35 weeks. She started contracting at like 28, 29 weeks and had to be hospitalized for a long time. And we were was it 35 or 33 weeks? 33 weekers. The children were 33 weeks when she delivered, and we had to put them in the incubator for a while to stabilize them, But again, some cycles have not worked. We've had failures where we had a transfer and then we didn't have a positive pregnancy outcome, and we've had to go through the cycle over and over again before the parents have their children. But for us to have abortions in midway or terminations, or no, we've not had that experience. But some other people have that experience. We have not.
All right. Now, in terms of cost, How much is the cost of all this?
For surrogacy.
For surrogacy.
Conservatively, okay, so I told you there are 3 ways you can work with us. So if for instance you want to manage your surrogate yourself, if the surrogate decides she doesn't want to collect a dime from you, that's fine. It's what you agree on. But if you're coming for any of our programs, okay, so this is how we bill. It depends on what you want us to do to get the hospital. We are paying for the treatment and all. But if we are looking at the surrogacy bulk, the surrogacy part of it, excluding IVF fees, excluding gestational care management and delivery, then you are looking at a minimum of 3.5 million. You heard when Lola said she was paid like 2 point something. She couldn't recall, but I recall offhand what she was paid. It was around 2.6 that she got. So if you look at 2.6 from 3.5, and we are going to pay legal fees, and we are going to pay surrogate handlers and coordinators, then you know there's a little margin of profit for us. And every business must have some profit. Yeah. So the least you will pay when you come to us for surrogate management only is 3.5. The higher band, the highest in our band is 5.5 million. And that's basically for people who are in diaspora who need some extra help in terms of immigration processing, parental orders, getting the children out of Nigeria, and the extra things they require us to do for them as an agency. But when you put everything together, cost of IVF, and then cost of delivery, and so you are looking at a conservative figure of like a 7.5 million. That's assuming that cycle is successful the first time and everything goes straight like that the first time. That's the figure you are looking at conservatively, like a 7.5.
All right. Now, will you say that is not a bit too much to pay?
It's not cheap. It's not cheap. But if you quantify what infertility is costing that person, you can't compare, because now we are looking at monetary figures. What infertility is costing that person is more than that amount of money. And I say to people, look at it as a project. When I had to go through surrogacy, I must have spent $20,000 on that cycle, because I did 3 IVF cycles. I spent around $20,000 on the IVF cycles and surrogacy cycles, and then like another 10 maintaining myself in India for 2 years. So it's an expensive venture. It's not something you just jump into and dabble into. Yeah, it takes a lot of planning and a lot of commitment. And we have people who give funding to support people who are going through this in terms of loans, and you can pay back over time. We have a bank that gives up to 4 years of payback, some 2 years of payback, and some other financial institutions. So what I tell people is, look, consider this as a capital project, like you are investing to build a house or something major, a major investment, and then you can plan towards it. So if you can plan towards it for a year or save towards it for a year or 2, yes, I encourage you to do that. Some people say they want to pay in installments. We encourage them to pay in installments. We peg their fee notes at a particular rate, and we don't go beyond that. And we encourage them to deposit their monies, and we make those payments on their behalf to the hospital. But the beautiful thing is, like I said, you pay in installments, so you only pay for what you need, i.e. you're not putting down the 7.5 million at once. You're only putting down some bulk of money at once when you need to make that payment. Okay, so we are not saying put down all that money from the beginning, and then if anything happens, we'll refund. No, we are saying if you need to do legal and contracting, this is how much you are paying for that phase. If you are going into your IVF, this is how much you are paying for that phase. For the first trimester management, this is how much. Second trimester, this is how much. Delivery, this is how much, and like that. So it makes it easier on the people to plan their funds and then to prepare adequately.
So there you have it. I think we've been able to explore this in details so that you wouldn't have any reason not to understand what is being said or how to assess these facilities that thankfully it's available now in Nigeria. So if you are kind of stuck and you don't know where to begin from, you can always get in touch with Toyin, who will take you through the steps needed, one after the other. Toyin, can you just tell us what your contact details are?
Okay. My email is toyin@preciousconceptions.com, and my phone number is +234 7088080339. Should I put that in the chat box?
Yeah, please do put it in the chat box, please.
Okay.
And let me just put it on the other platform as well. What is the number? 234
+234 7088080339.
It's Toyin's number. Okay. If you need to get in touch with her to take things further, feel free. And I'm sure she'll be more than happy to take you on and talk you through. Unfortunately, you are based in Lagos. So what happens to people who reside outside of Lagos, like the kind of that is in Odo State or Osun State?
It's a global village. I say global because you're global and then you're local. It's global now. Unfortunately, technology has come to our aid. I work with people overseas a lot. A lot of my clients, like 50% of my clients, are international clients. They don't live in Nigeria, and we work together successfully. So distance is not a barrier. There are always ways around that.
Very good. I think people can see that distance is not a barrier for even through this program. They can see that you can achieve anything nowadays. So it's been my pleasure, Toyin, and actually it's been my pleasure. But we are not done yet. We're just going to spend a couple of minutes on adoption.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so my agency does not do adoption directly, but we have referred several people to the Lagos state government, because I am in Lagos. That is what I know, to the Lagos state government in Alausa, the Ministry of Youth and Sports and Development, and yes, adoption in Nigeria is very serious, particularly in Lagos State. The government takes it very seriously. And so it's a very thorough process. And I tell people it can take you up to 2 years before you get a child from the government, because they are thorough and they go through their process. So they encourage people to file, to write and to apply for adoption. You can apply as a married couple. You can apply as an elderly single if you're a woman. So it starts off with an application, and you send it to the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Youth and Sports in Alausa Block 18. And you write your application stating why you want to adopt and your address and everything. And they look at it. And if your application merits, give it attention, and then an ethics committee meets with you, and you are invited, and you explain why you need adoption. And I know it involves them checking out your house. See, so it mimics what is done in the UK. They check out your house to see what facilities you have and the room and board that you have, and what you have available for that child that's going to come into your life. They check what you do for a living. They check your taxes, and Lagos State, you must pay your taxes and be a law abiding, you must be seen to be a law abiding citizen, and they do all of that. And when they are okay with it, they're okay with your facilities, they're okay with your level of income and your ability to take care of a child, then you move on to the next stage. For some people who are elderly, they even ask you to go for medical screening. So they want yes, you are elderly and you don't have any terminal illness and sick, and then the next 1 or 2 months you are off, and that baby is desolate. So for some, they send them for medical screening like that to see what happens to them. And by the time all of this comes together and you get a government approval, they give you an approval in principle, and they give you a list of the approved orphanages you can visit and see where, whether you can get a child from. And you visit some of these centers and develop a relationship with the people who manage them. And when a child is found, they will pair you with a child. You have visitation rights. So you go to visit the child, they watch you for bonding and all before they eventually release the child. And by the time they release the child to you, they still watch you for a while before the final approval is given by the government, and that's it. So it takes a process. Does it work? Yes. Our oldest adopted baby in Precious Conceptions is 10 years. Again, we don't do that as our first line business because we are not registered to do that. But we tell people what to do and tell them to go to the right source, so they don't fall into baby trafficking and all these baby factories, and they are not duped. So we refer them to the right source. We don't charge anybody for that because again, it's not our business. So I'm not going to invoice you for any adoption advisory. It's as plain as I have given it from what I know and understand. And we point you to the right place and say, go and eat them in an hour, they will sort you out. And once you're able to do it legally, you are fine.
Okay. Unfortunately, the Archdeacon just disappeared now. I was going to ask him what is thought. Oh, you're back. Welcome back, Archdeacon. In the network, I was going to ask you what is your opinion as a clergy when it comes to adoption?
I'm okay with that. Statoya has clearly stated the rudiments behind adoption. There are some clergy family that has done that because they waited and the babies are not coming. They don't have maybe money for IVF, or they don't want that. They prefer adoption and they go for it. It's okay by me. It's okay.
Okay, but is it okay by God?
Sure. God is not against that. There is no scripture that is working against that. All I will add to it is that once you are adopting, once you don't have the mind to take care of the baby as your own, don't bother to do that, because you are going to account for the baby. You are adopting. So for every child that comes in the hands of any man is a responsibility. And God has made us a guardian for every child. So we are going to account for it. So scriptures are not against that. All is expected is that the family must be ready to take that child as their own, and they must be ready to take care. That's my own.
Yes, and that's quite important, because you find some people say that they want to have their children and then adopt, or they want to adopt because they are still waiting and then try for other babies. And then eventually they have children and they want to inherit this adopted child. It's wrong. So one of the things the government always lay emphasis on is, if you are adopting this child, the child must be in your will, because this child becomes yours. And you are responsible for that child. So the status that child has must not be different from whatever it is you're going to give your biological child. If you are putting your biological child in your will, that adopted baby must be there. So people should realize that these things are not just for fancy. A child is not an acquisition. A child is not just something you want to own and say, okay, because my mates are having this, I want. No, if you're going to adopt, you have to go into it with your full senses. You I'm sorry, I'm a bit passionate about adoption because I see a lot of things, a lot of things happening, and people have a lot of notion about it, and they see these children as temporary, as like stopgaps, like they want something to comfort them when they are going through issues, and then something like a palliative or a pacifier before the main one comes. No, no. So if you are going to adopt, you have to go into it with full intention, knowing that a human life is dependent on you, and that baby is not a toy. You understand? It's not a stopgap. It's not a pacifier. You are bringing on that child, and you are nurturing that child because you are accepting that baby as your child. So it's a very serious matter. You go into it with deliberateness, with what other grammar can I use? You understand? You go
with full commitment. Lifetime commitment. Yeah.
Yes.
Lifetime commitment.
You go into it with your full chest and say, this is what I want to do, and this baby is mine. And the way God has done it, when you see these children and their parents, OMG, like people will say, they look exactly alike. I have seen children that look exactly like their adoptive parents, even up to allergy. They have same allergy reaction. It's amazing. There's a particular child I look at and I'm like, is it that your daddy went to do a away game somewhere and then they went behind to come and adopt you? Because they are too alike. The resemblance is too much. You understand? So the way God works it out, it is a child that it is the parent the child sees. It's that baby will look like the phenotypic characters. You doctors know what I'm talking about. Everything that child will take after you because you're the one that child is seeing. And the amount of love, you will feel. Because somebody asked me this question today, how will I accept this child? Hey, the moment, whether that child is adopted or whether that child is born through a surrogate mother arrangement or whether that child is born through donor egg, you have invested years and emotions and funds trying to have a baby. The moment you hear this surrogate is pregnant or I am pregnant, is donor egg, but you are now pregnant, or you have a baby a baby has been found and matched with you, the relief, the joy you experience is out of this world, and the bonding becomes immediate. It's instant. You carry that child, you're taking that baby home. Nobody is taking this baby away and keeping that baby in the hospital. This baby is going home with you. The joy you feel at that moment, you forget that baby does not have any genetic ties with you. I can bet you. So if adoption is what you want to do it with your full chest. Do it because God has given you the opportunity to have a child through that way. And he also adopted us into his own family anyway. We are engrafted. We were adopted by him. Go into it knowing that God is placing the responsibility and the destiny of a child into your hands. And you are going to be accountable to him for that soul he's given you. It's a huge responsibility. And I pray that people will take advantage of it and enjoy it. And at some point, they will be open enough to talk about it. A lot of them don't talk about it because, again, the law protects those children, so that they are not discriminated against, they are not stigmatized. But you have a few people who share their adoptive. I wanted to bring an adoptive mom on, but she wasn't around for a long time, and I didn't want to bother her at the last minute. So I wanted to bring her on so she could share her experience. Yeah, but it's a huge responsibility, and you should embrace it if that is your choice.
All right, thank you for saying that. That cannot be overemphasized. Now, on a parting note, do you have sperm donors working with you?
Yes, we have several who have registered with us, who have indicated interest. We have not gone ahead to match anyone with any family, At some point in time, we'll have to do that. But we have sperm banks in Nigeria. All the hospitals have, at least the hospitals that have freezing and preservatory facilities, they have a sperm bank. People can walk in and go through full screening and then donate and become regular donors to, with those hospitals. And they will, a woman who, or a family who is in need of a sperm donor will be matched with them.
Fantastic. So we have everything we need.
Yes.
In Nigeria.
Yes, we do.
That's good to hear. So there you have it, everybody. We come to the end of this series on infertility. Like I said, it's been a kind of a roller coaster, and it's been something that I've enjoyed from the beginning to this last minute. Ashdikin, you are very much appreciated for your consistency, your dedication and commitment.
Yes, sir.
I'm sure we shall be calling on you soon at some other time. And please feel free every other Thursday to join in as we take on other topics as well. It's all to the benefit of people listening to it. You can never waste your time learning about your health. Even if that information is not useful to you, it will be useful to somebody that you know. And Tui, I'm quite very grateful and appreciative of your time and energy, your commitment. I know that it's been a journey that we have been in together from the beginning, and I hope we'll continue to work along that line to do so many other things together.
It's been a great time, and I owe Dicken some of my time. I'm willing to do plenty things with your congregation, or what do I call it? People that need help in your church. I'm willing to offer my services and help you out. Maybe setting up preconception classes and things like that. Yeah, you can call on me. I'm here.
Thank you.
And I'm not sure if anybody won our gift today.
No, nobody seems to have responded to it.
Maybe your question was too hard.
It was simple. all they needed was to go back to their phone and check.
Maybe your question was too hard, Jare. This one, ask simple question. Ask them, let them tell you my name, and then
okay. So people are still there. If you can tell me the full name of TY, you still have the opportunity to win. Hide my name. Okay, so text in the full name of TY, and then you can win a book. I say actually the first 4 people to get it right will win the book.
This is a Joro question.
Yes.
Because my name is on the screen.
Exactly.
Just for them to type it.
So people should type that in. Even if it's your phone number they want to type it, let them type something.
Okay, so you said the first 4 people, right? So
yeah,
we have 4 people here that are still with us at this time.
We have more than 4. We should have how many?
We have. So I'm seeing Archdeacon, I'm seeing Tommy, I'm seeing Favor, I'm seeing Afolake. So maybe they should just all be winners. And
no, because we have multiple number of that on the audio part.
On the audio, sorry. I'm so sorry, everybody. I'm so sorry. So let them send in.
So we can't do a zero for that.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I'm only seeing a few. Okay, so anyways.
So I think there are still opportunities to give prizes away. Maybe I should have included that on the flyer. So maybe that would have. Oh, somebody typed in somebody. So Favor just wants something. So Favor is getting. You can indicate whether you want the electronic or the.
But that is not my full name. She just wrote Toyin Lolo Ogumade. Is it Baba Toyin or Olu Toyin or Olorun Toyin or what? I'm just kidding.
So she just wants something there. So you can indicate if you want the electronic copy or the paper copy, and that will be sent to you.
Somebody wrote Tolu Lolu Ogumade. She wrote Tolu Lolu Ogumade. Oh.
So that person didn't get anything.
Oh, sorry.
So anyway, we're still going to do this on Facebook as well. When I upload this, and there is a platform there that people will participate as well. So, Archdeacon, thank you for being with us. Okay. Thanks for being with us.
Very good.
I hope to see you in 2 weeks' time again as we take on some other topics. And some people have been telling me to talk about back pain and management. So that might be what we'll be talking about. So I think it's something that a lot of people suffer from. So even myself, I suffer from it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we might be talking about that at that point in time. So Tony, thanks very much. And to all our listeners, we say thank you very much. It's an extended one because it's a series finale. We hope to see Tony in 2 weeks' time as well. Maybe not
as a guest.
As a guest. As an audience. And Archdeacon as well. So people have opportunities to ask questions even before or during or even after. We're here to make your life better and to let you know that help is available for you whenever you need it. I feel a bit unhappy that we are ending it, but but that is life. We hope to see each other more, maybe during other sessions. So to you all, thank you very much. And to those who have waited it out, we say thank you for your commitment to being part of this program. So we meet in 2 weeks' time as we take on another subject of interest. Stay blessed and stay safe. Thank you. Good night to you all.
Bye. Good night.
Bye.